My wife claimed she was away on business, until I saw her dancing on her CEO's shoulders in a viral video. When she returned, I had only one thing waiting: the footage playing on loop, and her life in boxes. It was 2 in the morning when my phone buzzed. I was eating cold leftover pizza, the cheesy grease still warm against my fingers, my eyes half closed from the hours of work and stress that had stacked up like bricks on my chest. My phone vividly displayed a message from my younger brother, simple, stark, and terrifying in its brevity. 3 words: "Dude, I'm sorry." No context, no explanation, just those words and a link. I clicked. 43 seconds later, my life was shattered. My perception of everything I believed true torn asunder like paper caught in a furious wind. The video was meticulously clear. The festival spread out before them like a sea of lights, a glimmering ocean of people drenched in the warm glow of golden hour. She was on his shoulders, hair tangled by the breeze, arms lifted in exuberance, a smile that radiated freedom and desire. His hands rested on her thighs with an ease that was too familiar, too intimate. When she bent down to kiss the top of his head, the crowd around them erupted in cheer, their voices rising as if they too were witnessing the moment of betrayal I had been blind to. The caption reads simply, "CEO Summer hits different." 16 times I watched it before I could set my phone down. 16 times I felt my heart shatter a little more, my breathing become heavy, my mind reeling with the betrayal that had been hidden in plain sight. She had left for a critical work trip. Atlanta, she said. Client meetings, presentations, a busy schedule. Months of distance, of late nights, of phone calls taken in the other room. I told myself it was just stress. Her company was growing. Her boss, her CEO, was demanding. Her name, mentioned so often in conversation over the past year, had always been innocuous. Deadlines, expectations, work stress. I convinced myself of that. Until now. Until this video that burned into my eyes and mind with the relentless clarity of truth. The comments under the video were predictable. Couples goals, speculations, festival identification. Arizona, not Atlanta. I held my hands steady as I opened my laptop. No anger yet, only disconnected horror. I felt as if I was watching someone else's life unravel, someone else's marriage fall apart in front of me. Her Instagram confirmed everything. Sunset photo, tagged location. New experiences, she wrote. Atlanta, she claimed. Arizona, she lived. I thought about calling her. About demanding answers, making her squirm for excuses, hear her lies and denials. Pride, or perhaps a darker curiosity, stayed my hand. I wanted her to feel exactly what I was feeling. That gut-turning realization that everything she told me was a fabrication. The lie she'd woven so carefully, thread by thread, over months, perhaps years. Instead, I began to plan. The apartment was mine, legally, and had been for 2 years before I even met her. Purchased with endless hours of overtime, sacrifices, and saving every dollar. It was my sanctuary, my fortress. She had married into it, moved in with the assumption of permanence, but legally the space belonged to me. I opened our bank accounts. Our finances were mostly separate, something she'd insisted on. Convenient. The joint account held barely enough to cover utilities and groceries. The rest was mine. My money, my space, my life. By 3 in the morning, I had a list, meticulously organized. By 4, I began execution. Her closet was first. Every item carefully placed into boxes. Clothes, shoes, makeup, jewelry. Wedding album. Photos from walls removed with gentle precision. Empty squares remained where memories once hung. I methodically moved from room to room, erasing her presence, while leaving no trace of anger or hatred, only the calm certainty of retribution. Her bathroom followed. Shampoo bottles, toothbrushes, expensive skincare products, all carefully boxed. I made coffee as the sun rose, letting its warmth mix with my cool, determined calm. Her work corner in our bedroom came next. Desk, laptop, chargers, books, mementos from trips, tickets from movies, old birthday cards, all went into boxes. I worked without hesitation, my mind clear, methodical, focused. By noon, Friday, 14 boxes stacked neatly by the door. The apartment felt empty, larger, completely mine. I set up my laptop, pulled the TikTok video onto the TV, and let it loop. Her on his shoulders. Here, kiss. The crowd cheering. I turned the volume just enough for her to hear, just enough for the apartment to bear witness. Saturday passed in a blur of cleaning, polishing, perfecting. Everything in place, waiting. I ate Indian food, watching the video loop over and over, seeing the intimacy, the comfort, the betrayal. The marriage I thought I knew, built over 3 years, had been slowly crumbling. Small arguments, postponed dates, distance, work stress. Counseling suggested and rejected. Her solution to our rough patch was not effort or communication but him, her CEO. Sunday morning I went to the gym. I ran until my lungs burned, lifted until my arms shook. I came home, showered, and positioned everything perfectly. Boxes by the door, folder with screenshots on top, video queued on the TV, volume set. I sat back, waiting. The key in the lock would soon reveal the truth. At 6:15 p.m., the door opened. She walked in, suitcase behind her, eyes on her phone, head down. She stepped inside and froze. Her eyes landed on the boxes. Confusion, then panic. Then the audio from the TV. Music, cheering, her kiss, her on his shoulders. She went pale. The suitcase dropped from her hands. I sat in the armchair watching, saying nothing, needing nothing. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. She stammered, tried to explain. Chance encounter, one night, festival fun. She was talking fast, desperate, building a story that made no sense. I let her finish. I pointed to the boxes. She asked what I was doing, why everything was packed. I said nothing. The answer was obvious. Her anger escalated. How dare you? This is my life. She tried tears. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I love you. I stood and stepped back. Calm, controlled. I told her the apartment was mine. Take the boxes and leave or arrange storage. I consulted with my lawyer Friday morning. I knew my rights. True. Her tactics shifted. She begged. She cried. She reached out. I withdrew. I told her the marriage was over, that Monday morning I'd file for divorce, and any further communication would be through lawyers. She screamed, pleaded, offered counseling, claimed she'd end things immediately. I asked how long. She hesitated, lied. 8 months of interaction on social media, metadata, patterns. The truth revealed. Her face crumbled. She tried to blame me, the work stress, the distance, the neglect. I reminded her she could have left, sought counseling, filed for divorce. Instead, she chose lies and betrayal. She could have saved us, but chose him. I didn't care about her regrets. The boxes were hers to take. I suggested the CEO's place. That angered her. I was cold, I was cruel, I was justice. 30 minutes later, they were gone. Boxes removed. Apartment silent except for video looping. I turned it off. Felt the fury, then the sadness, then relief. I'd been living with a stranger. Now I knew. Now I could move forward. Monday morning arrived with a quiet brutality. The TikTok video that had been 2 million views on Friday had exploded into a frenzy of 15 million views by the time I awoke. Notifications flooded my phone, but I ignored them. Emails piled up. Work could wait. Social media could wait. The world had witnessed my life unravel through the lens of a 43-second clip, but I sat calm, observing, feeling a strange mixture of vindication, relief, and numbness. The video had gone viral for reasons that were both ironic and bitterly fitting. People tagged her, tagged the company, debated workplace ethics, power dynamics, and the morality of boss-employee relationships. Local news picked it up, framing it as a story about CEO misconduct. I sipped my coffee, watching the coverage, feeling neither triumph nor sadness, only the cold clarity of truth finally revealed. I called my lawyer first thing that morning. Simple, clean, and efficient. No kids, No shared property except the tiny joint account that I split evenly just to keep things neat. No fighting, no drama. Divorce filed. No fault, quick, clean. Everything she'd brought into the marriage or could prove ownership of was hers. Everything else stayed with me. I needed nothing from her. Not her love, not her apologies, not her presence. Only my life back. The legal side was swift, mercifully swift, like a bandage ripped away in one motion instead of a slow, torturous pull. By Tuesday afternoon, my phone buzzed. A missed call. Unknown number. I knew immediately. She had tried to reach me. Her voicemail begged for conversation, claimed complications, suggested talks, negotiations, a chance to explain everything. I deleted it without listening fully. Her words meant nothing to me anymore. Actions had spoken louder than anything she could possibly say. The betrayal had been seen, felt, documented. It was too late. Wednesday, my brother sent me another link. A business news article detailing that her CEO had been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation into his relationship with her. Apparently, the company's policies on supervisor-subordinate romances were clear, and the board feared liability and workplace controversy. Anonymous sources suggested he had a history of inappropriate relationships with employees. I felt a grim satisfaction. Not vengeance, not malice, but justice. Actions have consequences. My marriage had been torn apart by choices made without consideration, and now her career was trembling on the edge of collapse, just as my trust had. Thursday evening, my best friend convinced me to leave the apartment. We went to a bar. Nothing fancy. Beer, basketball on TV, the comfort of normalcy. He asked how I was holding up. I told him the truth. Numb, detached, like walking through fog. Nothing felt real. He reassured me. Grief was nonlinear, complicated. Even years later, some days still hurt. He shared his own divorce journey, 2 years of pain and processing. I felt gratitude for his honesty. It was a comfort far greater than platitudes about time or moving on. Friday morning, exactly 1 week after seeing the video, I realized I slept through the entire night. The first uninterrupted sleep since this nightmare began. A small victory, but important. A tiny signal that my mind, body, and heart were beginning to heal. That week, the world around me continued in its normalcy, oblivious to the drama that had consumed my life. My apartment felt different, lighter, clearer. A space that was mine again, not shared with deception, lies, and broken promises. 3 weeks later, her lawyer contacted mine. Settlement discussions. She wanted some of the furniture and items I had kept. My lawyer asked what I wanted. Simple. Anything she could prove she'd bought or brought into the marriage. The rest stayed. Clean. Efficient. Done. Within 2 days, everything was settled. No arguments, no tensión, no follies. Just a clean break. I felt a strange satisfaction in the simplicity of it, in the control I now had over my life and space. A colleague from her company reached out via LinkedIn. She wanted me to know that not everyone there had supported what had happened. My ex had been transferred immediately after the investigation, while the CEO had been terminated. Evidence of multiple inappropriate relationships made his position untenable. Severance, NDA, and a professional goodbye. I thanked her quietly and said nothing further. It was no longer my circus, no longer my responsibility. I started seeing a therapist, not because I felt broken, but because I needed to process, to understand the subtle red flags I had ignored, to ensure I would not end up here again. She was direct, challenging, not allowing me to rush healing, but guiding me through the layers of betrayal, disappointment, and recovery. For the first time in months, I felt like I was thinking clearly, strategically, and with the possibility of a future that was entirely mine. 1 month after everything collapsed, I went on a date. Coffee. Casual. No pressure. No drama. It felt surreal, a strange mix of excitement and guilt, though technically I was still married legally, but separated. She was nice. I was relaxed. I returned home alone, feeling relief for the first time in weeks. Small steps, gradual healing. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. Quickest dissolution my lawyer had ever processed. Clean, precise, legal closure matching the emotional closure I had already achieved. She picked up her boxes. Everything went through lawyers. I never spoke to her again. Mutual friends reported that she had moved in with the CEO despite his termination. They believed themselves star-crossed lovers, convinced their connection could survive consequences. I wished them luck, knowing they would need it. My path was now entirely separate, independent, free from the chains of betrayal that had once bound me to her. 6 months later, I was doing well. Not perfect, but content. I had redesigned the apartment, made it fully mine. New couch, new art, new energy. 15 pounds lost from consistent gym workouts. Hobbies resumed. Abandoned dreams rekindled. A book club. A weekend trip to Portland with friends. The video that had torn my world apart had mostly faded from public consciousness. Occasionally, compilations appeared online, but I stopped seeking them. I stopped checking her social media. I stopped caring. I felt free. A year later, I ran into her at a coffee shop. A chance encounter. She was picking up a mobile order when I walked in. Our eyes met. She looked different. Tired. Thinner. Hair shorter. Mouth opened as if to speak, then closed. I nodded and walked past. She disappeared before I turned around. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no curiosity. She was a person I used to know, from a life I had left behind. Closure. Full and complete. Life continued. I received a promotion at work, bought a house in a neighborhood I had dreamed of living in, began dating someone who was present, consistent, and funny. Simple concepts that felt novel after months of turmoil. People asked if I regretted how I handled everything. If I wished I confronted her differently, cried, screamed, pleaded for answers. No, she made her choice. I made mine. Playing that video on loop, packing her boxes, watching her reaction said everything that needed saying. Actions over words. Consequences over excuses. The best revenge was not anger or retaliation. It was rebuilding my life without her. Waking up in a home that felt peaceful, not tense. Dating someone who respected boundaries and showed up. Feeling happy without questioning reality or motives. That 43-second video had destroyed my marriage, but it had also freed me from a relationship already doomed. Sometimes the universe gives you closure disguised as catastrophe. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. And sometimes you are lucky enough to reclaim your life from the ashes of deception. I am grateful for that TikTok now. Took everything, but it gave me everything back. Life, autonomy, peace. Love that respected me instead of betraying me. Growth that was impossible while living with lies. And most importantly, the ability to stand alone, strong, and unbroken, ready to build something better. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with friends or family who appreciate true life revenge and recovery stories. Your support means the world. And if you have thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.